It has been a year since my betrayal, a year that, if I'm honest, has felt both like a lifetime and like yesterday. I built my life on someone I trusted with everything, my future, my dreams, my most vulnerable self. And when that trust was broken, it wasn't just about losing them, it was about losing myself. Because betrayal trauma doesn't just destroy the past, it shatters your imagination, your beliefs, and the future you thought you were building. Psychologist Jennifer Freud, who coined the term betrayal trauma, says it feels like a death of trust. And when trust dies, a part of you feels like it dies too. And that's why betrayal hurts so deeply. It's not only about what happened, it's about the death of who you thought you were with that person and the future you thought was waiting for you. I want to be transparent with you. The reason that I am making this video is not only to encourage you, it's to encourage myself. I am still on this journey. Recording these words is part of my own healing. So as you listen, I want you to feel safe enough to throw a piece of your own story into this moment with me. You don't have to carry it all alone. Betrayal trauma has its own unique stages, and these stages aren't just emotional, they're biological. The first stage is numbness and shock. When I first discovered the betrayal, my body literally froze. It felt like time split into two, the world that I thought I knew and the world that I was suddenly living in. And neuroscientist Bessel van der Kolk in The Body Keeps the Score explains that in trauma, the brain cannot always tell what is real and what is not. The amygdala, the fear center, goes into overdrive, while the prefrontal cortex, or the reasoning part, shuts down. It's like an electrical overload, and that's why you feel disoriented, detached, and almost as if you were watching a movie of your own life. But numbness doesn't last forever. Soon comes anger, and anger is powerful. It floods the body with adrenaline and cortisol. Research from Stanford University shows that anger lights up the same circuits as fear, keeping you in constant state of fight or flight. And after that comes the stage of revenge fantasies or desperate search for validation. You replay conversations over and over thinking, if only I had said this, maybe I could make them understand. Psychologist Aaron Beck, the father of cognitive therapy, described this as a mental attempt to regain control, the brain's way of trying to re-establish order after chaos. Then there are nightmares and flashbacks. Betrayal can mirror symptoms of PTSD. Studies from the Journal of Traumatic Stress show that the hippocampus, the part of the brain that organizes memory, struggles to file away the betrayal into the past. So the memory keeps looping. And that's why you can be fine one moment and suddenly reliving everything the next. And because pain this intense is unbearable, many of us turn to distractions or numbing by overworking, binge watching, drinking. And the self-medication hypothesis, first proposed by Dr. Edward Consham at Harvard, explains this. People use substances or behaviors not to seek for pleasure, but to escape from unbearable inner states. But even when you start to feel better, it's not linear. Psychologists call healing a non-linear process. 1 week, you feel strong, and the next week, you're drowning again. You're not failing. You're spiraling upward, even if you circle back. And eventually comes the stage where you ask, do I forgive? Do I let go? And both are valid. The real shift comes from when the story stops being about them and becomes about you. But betrayal also plants poisonous beliefs. For me, it sounded like I can't trust anyone again, or I must have been too naive. Sometimes even I don't deserve love. Trauma researchers Ehlers and Clark explain that it's not just the traumatic event itself that traps us, but the meaning we assign to it. If we tell ourselves, I was betrayed because I'm unworthy, and then the trauma keeps its grip. And because those beliefs are unbearable, people often turn to self-destructive coping, alcohol, substances, endless scrolling, cutting themselves off from friends. Studies in Addictive Behaviors Journal show that self-destructive coping isn't weakness. It's a desperate attempt to regulate unbearable emotions. But in the long run, it keeps us stuck in the same cycle. And at some point, I started asking, why do people betray at all? Psychologists talk about the dark triad of personality traits, narcissism, Machiavellism, and psychopathy. Research from Polis and Williams shows that people high in these traits are significantly more likely to manipulate, exploit, and betray. Narcissists crave admiration but lack empathy. Machiavellians treat relationships like games, and psychopaths act without remorse. Attachment theory also plays a role. People with avoidant or disorganized attachment, often from childhood wounds, are more likely to sabotage relationships because intimacy feels unsafe. Betrayal, in other words, often says more about their wounds than about your worth. Still, when you've been betrayed, shame sneaks in. I thought, if I were smarter, stronger, better, maybe they wouldn't have done this. But Dr. Jennifer Freud, who has studied betrayal trauma for decades, says self-blame is common because it gives us an illusion of control. If it was my fault, maybe I can prevent it next time. But that's a trick of the mind. The truth is, betrayal is always the betrayer's choice. You did not cause it, you did not deserve it, and you do not need to punish yourself again by carrying shame that isn't yours. So, how do we heal? We don't heal by ignoring it, just like physical pain. You can't leave a wound untreated. If you don't clean and dress it, the infection spreads. The same is true of betrayal. If you numb it, suppress it, or deny it, it will spread through your life, into your health, your relationships, your future. And instead, you have to face it, and that takes courage. I love the image of the buffalo in the rain. Cows run away from the storms, but buffalo turn and run directly into them. By facing the storm head-on, they actually get through it faster. And healing from betrayal means becoming like the buffalo. Don't run away into distractions. And don't chase comfort at the expense of growth. Walk into the storm. Cry if you need to cry. Scream if you need to scream. And write the truth in your journal even if your hands shake. For me, healing meant therapy, journaling, meditation, even just sitting in silence with my pain. And here's something vital. Give yourself permission to have trust issues. Give yourself permission to be cautious. Trust is not rebuilt overnight, not in yourself, not in others. And healing means step by step, learning again that the world can be safe. And if you are supporting someone in betrayal, please don't rush him. Don't say, just move on. Healing is not a sprint. It's a long, uneven walk. And the most loving thing you can do is to walk alongside them. One shift that helped me was realizing that betrayers are not stronger than us. They're weaker. They betray not because they're powerful, but because they lack the courage to be honest. They betray not because they're superior, but because they're incapable of intimacy. As one therapist put it, the unloved often become the unlovable. People who cannot love themselves often cannot love others. And here's where mercy comes in. Mercy doesn't mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean excusing them. Mercy means freeing yourself, saying, you're broken, but I refuse to let your brokenness define me. Mercy is not for them, it's for you. So today, we've walked together through betrayal. The stages we go through, what happens in our brain, the limiting beliefs that trap us. why betrayal happens, why it is never your fault, and how to face pain with courage, and why, in the end, betrayers are weaker than they appear. And if you take only one truth with you, let it be this: you are more powerful than you think, more powerful than you ever imagined. Pain is temporary. It doesn't feel that way at first, but just like the body heals, the mind and heart can heal too. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. Healing means carrying your scars with strength, knowing no longer control you, and realize the betrayal is no longer the headline of your story. You are.